Hello, this is my semester summary for ECE 103. So even with a lot of missing assignments and late work, I think I can prove to you with these course competencies that I have earned a passing grade of a C. So demonstrate project management, teamwork, and communication skills by working on design projects with multidisciplinary teams. So Clayton and I definitely had better time management with this project than our last. I think a lot of that had to do with the schedule that we stuck to pretty diligently. Our division of labor strategy made things run a lot more smoothly, so Clayton definitely worked on the technical aspects like data collecting and Excel, while I kept tabs on a lot of the physical stuff like getting supplies, coordinating time for practice outside of class, etc. And of course, Clayton and I together is pretty much the definition of multidisciplinary. So I don't know how much better it could get in that scenario. So present the results of design projects in both written technical reports and oral presentations. So this is where the C comes in. My report was late and only halfway complete. I did not have the time to ask Clayton or the courage to reach out again about understanding the math modeling and specifically the Excel document. I know I could have asked for more in class time. The presentation, that was thorough, good looking and organized, just like the last one, but again, missed that key math component. And so all I can say is that I'm happy that I get 2 more semesters in order to focus on understanding physics a little bit better, because obviously it is not my strong suit. Apply appropriate problem-solving techniques to engineering problems using graphical, mathematical, written, and computer modeling tools. So the graphical and mathematical, of course, are Excel and Logger Pro, the 2 that I had the most trouble with and that I probably needed to ask for a little bit of help. But I did get a chance to get some VPython going this time around, and of course, our written models include the first model, pen and paper, nearly always, which usually helps us solve our engineering problems aplenty. This go around, a lot of the times we went back to the drawing board, which afforded us a lot of help. Use an engineering design process to propose solutions to real-world problems. So this semester I used a lot of common sense to avoid, this half the semester, to avoid overcomplicating problems. And that's been pretty much a lifesaver, because we all have the tendency to do that as human beings. Many of my ideas involved starting from scratch or just going back to the drawing board and trying to figure a problem out again. This wasn't exactly an engineer design process, but it definitely was a good problem-solving technique a couple times throughout the semester when I was able to teach others about how to use the machines in the makerspace before I was really proficient in a lot of it myself, because that kind of ties back into one of my favorite sayings, that you really haven't thoroughly learned something unless you have the ability to communicate it to others and teach it to others. And so that helped me get a little bit more expertise under my belt, and I was really grateful for that. Develop algorithms for the implementation as computer code. So I don't really think any of us knew much about this one, but Python was the perfect compromise. And when I started writing this code, I kind of was hitting roadblocks in the avenues of just having way too many moving parts and not understanding a lot of it mathematically, and because it was such a big issue. And so I went back in my Python textbook, and at the very beginning, we got a lesson on writing flowcharts for code. Helps you break it down a little bit and understand the problems a little bit better, and that helped me to write part of our Python code. Apply computer code to analyze data, develop models, and or operate equipment. So yeah, this time around I got my shot at Python. It was hard at first, but and I definitely got super stuck when it came to multiple loops inside of loops. But I felt accomplished at the end when we had everything pristine and polished, thanks to Mr. Clayton. Speaking of the man, I used a lot of extra time with him in order to understand the analysis and Excel models. But yeah, it turns out I guess I needed to ask for even more help, and I'm sure Clayton wasn't happy to give it to me. Yeah, it just would have involved swallowing my pride and asking the same questions. And so this is just a lesson for me in that I need to pay some good attention to my next semester of physics and other related technical design softwares. So, use computer drawing software to create representations of physical objects. I used a few different types of processing softwares that were new to me this semester, like Final Master, Glowforge, the Flash, so the one for the Flash Forge 3D printers. We dabbled in Tinkercad, which was like a couple times, and it made me think about getting into Fusion once my computer's built and I have the capabilities to do that when I have something that can run it, because I know a lot of these CAD softwares, even Tinkercad sometimes, takes a lot of processing power. So, my controversial debate and the cultural science document, both of these were, I'm pretty sure, late. But I wanted to say about my controversial debate, that was one of the most interesting and also, I feel, well-written papers that I've ever produced. I realized the key was the passion there, and being able to choose the topic that I found most interesting and also most challenging. About halfway through I realized, holy crap, this is pretty much impossible to separate from the morals and the feelings of the matter. So having to force myself to keep it to a more like empirically measurable debate document, it was challenging and difficult, but awesome in the end. And the cultural science as well, something that really intrigued me and made me think, was the COVID-19 tracking. Gave me a lot of resolutions about my own fears. I really enjoyed my silly monkey brain hearing from an expert on the topic, and someone who stuck around after the presentation for about an hour just answering all of our frantic questions about the future of this virus. And it turns out a little while later he was absolutely right, and a lot of the things he said about herd immunity specifically calmed my heart. As a big believer in the whole vaccination ordeal, you can imagine I was getting pretty frightened there. Now you might be asking yourself, but Tabby, well, asking the screen, what about all of that missing Canvas work? Now, the only consolation I have is that I had a lot of pretty crazy things happen this semester with my family, with the health of my family, with the mental health of my family. And so, yeah, I wish I could say that I would have, I could have done better with the tools I had this semester, but sadly, I think this was the best I could do, and hey, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I do think I did do most of it. And that, I don't know, that I'm not a teacher. I don't have the degree. That sounds pretty pass worthy to me. And in summary, there's a lot of ways that I succeeded this semester, and there's other ways where I flopped. And life's a paradox. There's goods and bads to everything, but I think this semester I got a little bit sidetracked with the unpredictable life. And I was thinking about it. I would be pretty interested to see what 103 with Mr. Jim Sizemore would look like during the fall. So, if you'd like to know, then you know what to do. But I think overall, I will look on the bright side for this semester. And to kind of leave this on a high note, I suggest you check out the next video I have in the playlist here on YouTube. But other than that, thank you very much, and have a nice rest of your day.